So the other day I watched the first episode of Bleach, 1000-Year Blood War, the sort of sequel series, which is really just a continuation of the original manga, but is being billed as the return of Bleach, the sequel to Bleach. Not necessarily Bleach reboot, but just kind of a reboot in the sense that this thing that we all cared about 10 years ago is back. And I think this was just about a perfect first episode for one of these. I've kind of been covering and inspecting reboots and sequel series for the last couple of years. You know, obviously Digimon Adventure 2020 was a big one for me, but also Shaman King, the Yashahime series, which was a continuation sequel to Inuyasha. Dragon Ball Super is a thing, especially with the new movies. But I think Bleach got so much right with 1000-Year Blood War, and I think it has a lot going for it and a lot of potential. And the simplest way to put it is that this is not a company scrambling to figure out how do we cash in on this thing people cared about 10 years ago, and how do we write a new story, and maybe we don't have the original creator on board, or if we do, they're in more of a consultant role, like with Akira Toriyama on Dragon Ball Super stuff. This is a manga arc that just simply never got animated because of, I guess, dwindling popularity. The show was fading in popularity and ratings were lower and lower. At the end there of Bleach, I have to admit I wasn't watching anymore when Bleach was wrapping things up on television around the 2011 period. And so again, unlike a Dragon Ball Super or a Yashahime, where they're kind of scrambling to say, hey, we want to keep this franchise alive, let's think of something quick and make it happen. They have this fully canon official story by the original mangaka ready to go, and can now deliver this amazing and beautiful art that we got to see in episode 1. The lighting and the direction of this new episode was so gorgeous. It just made me fall in love with Bleach all over again. I was a huge fan of the show in the 2000s. I kind of got on board maybe in 2008 or 2009 or so when I was in high school, and I thought it was so cool. Obviously Bleach kind of got made fun of in later years for being this kind of edgy show, and out of the, you know, Naruto and One Piece and Bleach, people kind of make fun of it as being kind of the most edgy and maybe even dated one visually, I guess. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that Bleach is the greatest anime ever made. It's not even like my top 5 or top 10, I don't think, but it has a special place in my heart, and I would be lying if I said that the first episode didn't absolutely pull at the nostalgia strings for me. I can't believe they used the song Number One. When that came on in the first episode, I lost my mind. I didn't know if we were going to be going with a new soundtrack for 1000-Year Blood War or not. What else do I want to say? You know, I watched the dub for Johnny Young Bosch, and the sub was pretty fantastic too. I mean, obviously the sub is going to be great. It's the same actors reprising their roles. They all crushed it. Again, coming fresh off of Yashahime, they did a thing where that show, obviously as you can tell by the name, wasn't about Inuyasha, it wasn't about Kagome, and that was a risky gamble. Obviously you can move on to a new cast and have the original cast supporting them, like a Boruto situation, but they just, you know, they had this central mystery of where is the cast, and they kept going and they wouldn't reveal their hand until way later in the series, and it just led to a lot of frustration. I know I had a lot of friends watching the first few episodes of Yashahime who bailed because it just felt like it was taking too long to give us the answers we wanted, or if we got the answers, they weren't all that satisfying. This show does the sort of reboot mystery with the last few minutes of this episode, and obviously you need that kind of mystery to pull you in and say, like, what's different this time? Where are we going with this show? And I don't know, not really spoiler alert because it's only the first episode, but at the end of this episode, the bad guys are capable, or they have the capacity to steal Bankai from Shinigami, and I thought this was such a great idea. I mean, the Bankai is an iconic thing in Bleach. If there's one thing we know, like 10 years later, you don't remember every single detail of Bleach, but you know, Ichigo cool, Rukia cool, Bankai objectively cool, everyone loves a Bankai. And then now they're saying that you can't use those, or that this new threat is stealing Bankai from the Shinigami. It makes me want to figure out what is going to happen with this series. This is not the most educated or informed, like, explained video. I'm not trying to pretend I'm an expert on Bleach or even on the manga, which I could read, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to wait and experience the 1000-Year Blood War in anime form. I'm just here to say, if you're somebody who is thinking about watching Bleach, maybe you're someone who liked it 10 years ago, 15 years ago even, I was really pleased with this premiere, and I'm definitely going to keep watching. This is a bit of a weird tangent, but on this channel and on my main channel, I've occasionally talked about Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen and how I just can't really get into those shows. I like both of them. I liked Jujutsu Kaisen 0 a lot, the film. I liked, I don't know, 50% of the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie, and then I just felt like it went off the rails, no pun intended, and I wasn't thrilled with the story pacing or the beats, and I've never thought the story was that strong in Demon Slayer, but obviously the animation is next level. Anyways, but I've been struggling for so long to figure out why I'm not connecting with either of those shows, Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer, when they're like the biggest shows in the world. And I was realizing while watching the big kind of action scene at the start of this episode, when all of Ichigo's squad was facing off against the Hollows, I think the reason I don't like those shows that much is because of how much I like Bleach. And I don't mean that in a weird like fandom wars thing. Like there's a lot of shows I like that are similar to other shows. Because I don't think Bleach is like a 10 out of 10 show, I finally understand why people like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen as much as they do. Maybe if you didn't watch Bleach, like if, you know, because I watched it when I was 13 or 14, and it was one of the first anime besides Dragon Ball and Pokemon and stuff that I really fell in love with and really invested time into. So if Demon Slayer is your Bleach, or if Jujutsu Kaisen is your Bleach, then yeah, I can totally understand why you would think it was like mind-blowing and the coolest thing ever and have this love for it. And so in watching Bleach, one, I'm happy that my show's back just as an old grumpy man, but two, I'm happy because I can finally understand like why people like Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer so much. And frankly, I'm not gonna kind of push myself to make myself like Demon Slayer more than I do, or like Jujutsu Kaisen more than I do, because now Bleach is back and I can kind of just go in my Bleach corner and watch that and have some new beautiful animation but with the characters and the story I love. Does any of this make sense? I guess the comparison I'm making with those series is it's like secret society of samurais or spellcasters, of highly skilled individuals with some kind of spiritual energy who are taking down shadowy monsters, whether those are hollows or demons or curses. And there's sort of not a school in all three necessarily, but there's again a society with different rankings and tiers, and it's all that shonen jumpy formula. So I'm not saying, oh, Demon Slayer plagiarized Bleach or anything like that. Like they're all just doing the formula. It just so happens that the first one of those that I jumped into was Bleach. And if the first one you jumped into was Demon Slayer, then I can see why you like Demon Slayer more than the others. But for me, because I jumped in with Bleach, I think I like Bleach a lot more than the other one of those type shows. And now that it's back and it's looking gorgeous and the story is super compelling and it's adapting the manga that never got a chance to be adapted as an anime, as opposed to rebooting and not consulting Kubo, or maybe just having him in like a background consultant role. It's none of that. It's the official canon manga from back in the day just finally being adapted. I am incredibly on board. So if you're a Bleach fan and you're watching this video, let me know what you think. If you're a fan of mine because of my Digimon videos and you've never watched Bleach, let me know maybe why not, like what made you think Bleach looked boring. Yeah, let me know. I just felt like ranting about this one because as I said, I watched Bleach yesterday and I've basically been thinking about Bleach every hour since. I don't think I'm going to do like episode reviews every week or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about this new show that had me excited, since I am known to talk about anime that is coming back, whether it's a reboot or a sequel or a continuation. I hope this video wasn't awful because I didn't have a script. I just felt like rambling about Bleach as one does. Okay, now I'm actually done for real. No, you hang up. Okay, bye.